Welcome to a world where darkness reigns, where desires run deep and secrets linger in the shadows. This is Vampire Stories, your sanctuary for tales of lust, power, and immortality. Episode 6, The Witch's Gambit, Salem, 1692. The Puritan town of Salem trembled beneath the weight of paranoia. Fires burned as innocent men and women were condemned in the name of righteousness. Selene had no interest in the politics of mortals. She walked in shadows, her purpose singular, to find Hester Blythe. Centuries ago, Hester had been a mere apprentice in a coven Selene had once manipulated for her amusement. The coven had feared Selene, their magic proving useless against her power. All but Hester had submitted, their wills bending like reeds in the wind. Hester had been different. She had stared into Selene's eyes, unafraid, and cursed her. "You will regret underestimating me," she had said, her voice steady even as the other witches abandoned her. Selene had laughed, mocking the young witch's defiance, before burning her coven to ashes. But Hester had survived. She had escaped Selene's wrath, fleeing across continents and centuries, honing her craft in secret. And now Salem was her stronghold, her power rumored to rival even Selene's. The forest clearing was a tableau of magic and menace. Hester stood in its center, her arms raised, chanting in a language older than the stars. Around her, glowing runes were carved into the earth, pulsing with dark energy. Selene stepped into the clearing, her presence quiet but commanding. "You've been busy," she said, her voice carrying easily over the sound of crackling energy. Hester lowered her arms slowly, turning to face her. Her once youthful face was lined with age and power, her eyes glowing faintly green. "And you've been predictable," Hester replied. "You couldn't resist coming, could you?" Selene smirked. "You've left quite a trail. Blood magic in Spain, hexes in the Scottish Highlands, and now this crude display. I thought you'd be more subtle." "This isn't for you," Hester said, gesturing to the runes. "It's for them." Selene raised an eyebrow. "The Puritans? Those fragile mortals hunting their own shadows? They're not worth your effort." "They're pawns," Hester said sharply. "You are the prize." Selene took a step closer, the moonlight catching the sharp angles of her face. "Still holding a grudge, I see. I should have ended you when I had the chance." Hester's lips twisted into a smirk. "You tried, and yet here I stand, stronger, smarter." "Overconfident," Selene countered, her tone icy. "Let's test that," Hester snapped, raising her hands. The ground beneath Selene trembled as roots burst forth, snaking toward her like living chains. Selene darted to the side, her movements a blur, but the roots were relentless, twisting and lunging. She dodged and slashed at them, her strength ripping through the wood, but more sprang forth to replace them. Hester laughed, her voice echoing through the clearing. "You've grown slow, Selene, too used to preying on weak men." Selene snarled, her eyes narrowing. She leapt high into the air, landing behind Hester with feline grace. "And you've grown cocky," she hissed, striking out with her claws. Hester spun, a wave of fire erupting from her outstretched hands. The flames roared towards Selene, who barely had time to shield herself, her supernatural reflexes saving her from the worst of the attack. She emerged from the smoke, her gown scorched but her expression unyielding. "You'll have to do better than that," Selene said, her voice low and dangerous. The battle raged on, each woman pushing the other to their limits. Hester summoned storms, lightning tearing through the sky, while Selene used her speed and strength to close the distance between them. They clashed again and again, the forest around them bearing the scars of their conflict. Trees split in two, earth scorched and upheaved. Selene finally managed to land a blow, her claws raking across Hester's shoulder. The witch cried out, staggering back, but her eyes burned with fury. "Is that all you've got?" Selene taunted, circling her wounded prey. Hester gritted her teeth, blood staining her tattered cloak. "Not even close." She slammed her hands into the ground, and the runes around them flared to life. The clearing was engulfed in a dome of energy, trapping Selene inside. The air grew heavy, oppressive, as if the very life was being drained from the space. Selene staggered, her strength waning. "What is this?" "A binding spell," Hester said, her voice triumphant. I've been waiting centuries to trap you, Selene. Now you'll suffer as I have. But Selene's lips curled into a smile, even as the spell tightened around her. You forget, Hester. I don't play by your rules. With a burst of effort, Selene surged forward, her claws slicing through the air. She struck Hester's chest, shattering her concentration. The dome collapsed, the energy dissipating into the night. Hester gasped, blood trickling from her lips. She staggered, but Selene caught her, holding her upright. "It's over," Selene said, her voice almost gentle. Hester's eyes burned with defiance even as her strength faded. "Do it. Kill me." Selene hesitated, her crimson eyes meeting Hester's green ones. For a moment, there was no hatred, only understanding. "I won't give you the satisfaction," Selene said at last. Instead, she leaned close, her voice a whisper. "You deserve worse." She bit deep, draining not just blood, but the very essence of Hester's power. The witch's body grew cold, her life slipping away, her magic absorbed into Selene. As dawn approached, Selene stood alone in the clearing, the remnants of their battle all around her. Hester's final words echoed in her mind. "You will never escape what you are." Selene turned toward the horizon, her gaze distant. "Perhaps not," she murmured, "but I will make it mine." And with that, she disappeared into the shadows, leaving behind only silence. If you've enjoyed this glimpse into the world of Selene, there's so much more to come. Subscribe and join us for more stories of desire, betrayal, and the eternal night. Until next time, stay curious, stay haunted, and remember, the shadows are never empty.